Recording a summary is an effective way to check reading comprehension.
All right, let's get right into it. Today we're going to talk about one of the most incredible true stories I've ever heard. It's a story about music, hope, and just unbelievable creativity. It's called From Trash to Triumph. So I want you to picture this. Our story centers around a young girl named Ada Rios. She grew up in a slum right next to one of the biggest landfills in all of South America. And yet, somehow from that literal mountain of trash, she and a bunch of other kids would create a world-famous orchestra, playing on instruments they made themselves from the very junk that everyone else had thrown away. Okay, so before we really jump into their journey, let's quickly go over a few key words. They're going to help us get a much better feel for their world and, the huge challenges they were up against. First up, we have triumph. And really, it just means a huge victory or an incredible achievement. Trust me, it's the perfect word for where this story is headed. Next, slum. A slum is basically a very poor, overcrowded part of a city. And this is exactly where our story starts. An instrument. Now, we all know it's something you use to make music, right? But in this story, these instruments become so much more than that. Harmonious, this is just a great word for when different notes and sounds blend together perfectly, in a really beautiful, pleasing way. Then there's dazzle. To dazzle someone is to just completely blow them away with an amazing performance. It's about being spectacular. Okay, potential. This one's really important. It's all about that hidden ability inside something or someone to grow and become truly great in the future. Glaring, like a really bright light that's almost hard to look at, kind of like the stage lights they would eventually find themselves standing under. Dizzy. We've all felt this, right? That lightheaded, unsteady feeling you get when you're super excited or maybe a little nervous. Faith. This is all about having complete and total trust, whether it's in an idea, in other people, or most importantly, in yourself. And last one, pursue. To pursue something means you chase after it with everything you've got. Like chasing a dream until you make it your reality. All right, with those words in our back pocket, let's dive right into the story. We're starting in a place called Catura in Paraguay. So this was Ada's reality. Her entire world, really, revolved around this giant landfill. People's jobs, their way of surviving, it was all tied to sorting through what other people threw away. And for most kids growing up there, it just felt like that was their destiny too. But then, something happened. Something nobody saw coming. It started with just a simple piece of paper, a poster, that would end up changing Ada's life forever. And this was it. This was the spark. Ada's grandmother spots this poster offering free music lessons, and she signs Ada up. For Ada, who absolutely loved music, this was everything. The violin wasn't just wood and strings. It was a potential way out. It was a dream she could actually hold in her hands. So you've got this wonderful teacher and all these kids who are so excited to learn. But they hit one massive problem. They just didn't have enough instruments. Not even close. And here's the really mind-blowing part. A single basic violin cost more than an entire house in their community. Just let that sink in for a second. It wasn't just a little expensive. It was completely impossibly out of reach. So what now? What could they possibly do? Well, this is where the story gets truly amazing. This is where you see just how creative people can be when they absolutely have to be. A local man, a garbage picker who was really skilled with his hands, decided to take on the challenge. He started building instruments out of the only thing they had plenty of, trash. Okay, so now they have instruments. They're not exactly fancy. They're made of oil cans and old forks, but to these kids, they were absolutely priceless. But, having an instrument is just the first step. Making it sing, well, that's a whole other challenge. the real work was just getting started. And look, it wasn't magic. At first, it sounded pretty awful, just a lot of screeching and clanging. In fact, some of the kids got so frustrated they just quit. But Ada and the others, they stuck with it. They practiced for hours and hours every single day. And slowly but surely, that noise started to transform. It turned into music. It became harmony. They started calling themselves the Recycled Orchestra, and people started to notice.
Now, fast forward 4 years. Their journey takes them somewhere they probably never even dared to dream about. They get invited to tour with a world-famous rock band, and one night, they walk out onto this absolutely massive stage. And the number you see here, that's how many people were in the audience. 35,000 people, all there to hear them play.
So you can just imagine them on that stage, right? Under those glaring lights, feeling dizzy with excitement. This was their triumph. But you know what? The real impact of their success was so much bigger than just one awesome concert. Yeah, this wasn't just about getting famous. This was about changing their actual lives in a real, tangible way. With the money they earned on tour, they were able to build safer, better houses for their families. But even more than that, they showed everyone back home, and really the whole world, that it doesn't matter where you come from. Your beginnings do not have to define your future. So let's just recap this amazing journey for a second. It all starts with a girl in a slum, looking at a future that seems pretty much set in stone. Then comes this one little opportunity, free music lessons. That sparks this incredible burst of creative innovation, making instruments out of literal garbage. And then, through sheer hard work and determination, they achieve global success. And the result? They get to build better lives and give hope to so many people. And that's really what this whole story leaves you with, isn't it? It's such a powerful reminder to just look a little closer at things. It really makes you ask yourself, what amazing potential is hiding right in front of us in the things and maybe more importantly in the people that we are so quick to write off or throw away.
Want to speak English better and boost your exam scores? Summary training makes it happen.